Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Nathan Ross Rees Reform Podcast. Today we're in Pasadena? No, Glendale.
We're in Glendale today.
Glendale, California. Here with the amazing, epic. I'm trying to think of all these other words to describe you, but
Crazy.
one word that comes to mind is like incredible longevity. I mean, you've been like on top of the game for so long. So yeah, Tracey Mallett is with me here today. So inspiration to generations of instructors. You're like the 30th year you're in LA now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I feel like so many podcasts you've been on in the past have really covered in detail like your trajectory, how you started and where you got to. So today we might dive into that a little bit, but I'd really be more interested in kind of getting your takes on everything, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm up for that. So yeah, we're in Glendale, but I live in South Pasadena. I have to put that out there. It's near the Rose Bowl. Everybody knows the Rose Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to put that out there. Yeah, I've lived in South Pasadena now actually for 29 years. Can you believe that? So I moved here in 96 from England, and Nathan doesn't quite believe that most people think I'm Australian. So the fact that we're sitting side by side, you can hear everybody there. Our accents are very different. But I swear to you, a lot of times they've been following me for a long time. They've even taken classes with me and they still think I'm Australian. And maybe it's because all my best buddies and close friends, a lot of them are either Australians or Kiwis.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we're pretty likable, so.
Oh, there you go. I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I kind of feel like you have the ability to adapt to any environment because you've been challenging yourself with different environments for so long now.
I think I always say as instructors, we become chameleons. If we're a good chameleon, we'll be a great teacher because we adapt to the people that's in front of us. And we always try and find, well, I do, and I think it's a good pointer here. We always try and find something that we have something in common with that person that comes through the door or that person that's in front of us. And people pick up on that. It makes it very personable. And I think when you're so personable to your students, your clients that have come in for years, that's special. And that's something that authenticity you cannot manufacture. And it's something that we all should nurture that. And that's why I say we're like chameleons.
Yeah.
You know, we just like, I think we have to be able to pivot really quick. I mean, specifically, let's talk about, obviously, it's what we're here today, talking about the Pilates industry. I mean, it's just like, for a long, long time, you know, I've been in it for a long time, like over 30 years. Now I feel old now, but it was a much more slower pace than when I started, which is kind of nice because I learned in a very slower environment, take it all in, smell the roses, as we would say.
Yep.
But now it's like, whoa, what are those roses? We don't even get a chance to smell the roses. We're going to be like there in like 100, 10 seconds and we're there, you know what I mean? So, it's taken up this very, very fast pace. I'm not just talking about the exercises, just in general. And it's just life that, the new level, a new level of instructors coming in, they want it fast, want it quick. And we all know that it just takes time for that to happen. So that's kind of one of the biggest things I would say, that the industry right now is just very fast paced. And I think it would be nice for it to slow down a little bit. I'm not talking about actually teaching slowing down. I'm just taking these instructors need to understand that it does take time.
Yep.
It takes time to develop a craft. And the only way we learn is by just stepping into that space and finding people that they can emulate, but eventually they want to be themselves. But it's nice to have someone that they can emulate, someone that they trust or someone that they can be mentored by, and then take off from there, you know. What is your opinion like in today's entry point for Pilates instructors? Do you feel that it needs help, or do you think it's in a good place right now? I'm just curious, your opinion.
Well, I haven't been around to see the transition, but my impression is that it would have been more of like an organic process back in the day, which would have kind of taken time. And now it's more like hyper commercialized. So like everyone's finding a way. It's like everything's a subscription these days, but as an analogy, it's like everyone's finding a way to kind of sell some part.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with that. I just think that you have to have a good understanding of what the expectation is. If you're going to put a product out there, you have to be clear about what you're going to get out of it, rather than just a general label that might not live up to the bill. So for me, like if I want to, well, I'm in the process of creating a Reform Academy instructor certificate now. So, I mean, obviously you've had certificates for ages and you've trained like 10,000 instructors plus. So you're in the game for a while, but in the process of me creating this, I'm really kind of, I'd say concerned, for lack of a better word, that the people, when they come through the process, they're going to be like industry ready. And for me, industry ready means like have like great levels of awareness, critical thinking,
right?
Adaptable.
Well, the critical thinking, I love that. The critical thinking, I think, is one of the things that is lacking a lot of, because there's just so much right there at our fingertips now with the computers, with podcasts like us, and it's so easy to try and replicate instead of like figuring out like who you are, what kind of instructor do you want to be, what direction do I go in, and it's so fantastic. There's so many directions that you can go in with the Pilates industry now. That it does get, I've talked about this before, so much noise out there, and how do we cut through that noise? But critical thinking comes from experience. Experience takes time. And that's the thing that people don't want to give, is the time. So what happens is they'll go into it and realizing on the job that they need to kind of like maybe take a few steps back, but we don't want to think of it as a few steps back. We want to think of it like, let's have a stronger foundation.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where the critical thinking comes from, is your stronger foundation, which is going back to the principles, the foundations. Everybody talks about that, but I wonder, do you really understand what we're talking about? Which is like, obviously the classics are so important. And I've realized the more and more I teach, I mean, I was one of the ones that really did push the boundaries many, many years on Pilates Anytime, pushing the boundaries of more contemporary Pilates. But I realized now I'm pretty tame in comparison to how I used to be. However, the more I push it, the more I realize and going out into the industry and going out into, just like you, we're very few instructors in the world right now, and that we actually go out and meet them. I mean, you think about it, like I feel like I'm just following you around. That's why he secretly got me here, really, because I've been following him around now, because he'll be in London or whatever, and then the next few months I'm in London, I'm kidding. Now I'm coming to Australia in August. I'm just following you around now. But it's true, though, because we're in the trenches. We go and see them in the studios. We actually have a really, really, really good snapshot of what the industry's like right now. And one of the things I'm feeling is the critical thinking, is really, truly understanding and going back to like, why are we doing that? What is the purpose? And as long as we can define what the purpose is of it, it's okay, whether it's contemporary, whether it's classical, whatever it is. But as long as you know what's the purpose of it. When you go into your trainings, your purpose is X, Y, and Z, and you're pretty clear with what your purpose is. It's your mission statement, right? So as an educator, for me, my mission statement is this. We're completely different in a way, but we match at different points too. And I think if, as a community, if we can respect that, I think our community will grow so much more, instead of just trying to put people down and say that that's not Pilates. I think is really sad for the industry, and it's affecting a lot of people, the negativity that can sometimes happen on social media. But I know you and I are very positive, and we meet them where it is, so it's See, I just keep talking and talking and talking. And poor Nathan doesn't have a time to chime in, so I'm going to let him talk now.
Maybe it should be like one of those chess games where you like hit a thing and then it's your turn.
You're like, boom, your time, snap.
I agree with you there, because I feel like if you've gone through the process of creating your own methodology, creating your own philosophy, your own systems, you can only do that through a shitload of experience and then prioritizing like what you want to achieve. Like if you set an objective and you're like, well, how do I get that result more effectively? Automatically you start to like have to make decisions on what you do, what you don't do. Because there's like 20 ways to do one exercise, right? So it's like, well, how do you want to do it? So picking figuring out how you want to do it and then aligning your teaching systems to do that. I feel like it's a very therapeutic process. I find it's very cathartic. I enjoy it so much, like trying to figure out exactly what it is, what it isn't. So when I'm teaching someone how to do that, in my mind, there's no doubt what it is, like, because we've kind of, as you know, when you're in real life, in the trenches, meeting people face to face, like you get every fucking question you could ever imagine, and then you're getting
Trust
challenged.
me.
Yeah, you're getting challenged on every part of the idea. It's like, you know,
Yes.
it's like you really get to kind of see, is it battle tested? You know, are these ideas, do they work in every environment? But that's, I think, amazing part of the process, because if you didn't do it, then you wouldn't be as fluent in discussing the ideas. You know.
Well, that's what you just said, the process.
Yeah.
So you hit another good word, the process. It's about the process. And how many times have we been said this when we were little kids and your parents go, trust the process.
Yeah.
And then we never want to, because we just want to get ahead of the process. And that's what I say to my young students, trust the process, you know. And you're right, it's going into the trenches and testing it, and then putting it into motion is where the true magic happens. Like with all my teacher training programs that I've done, like I've done obviously booty bar, which is bar, eccentric, did that, still doing it. Bar took a little bit of a sidestep when after the pandemic, when Pilates got so big again. But to be honest with me, bar for me has always been standing Pilates anyway, because of my background. So I've always taught it with that Pilates background with it anyway. But seeing that, and yeah, I find it very therapeutic too, to be able to devise a syllabus, and then the only way you know whether it works is if you truly do it and you breathe it and you're practicing and you do it. It's the same with all my Pilates courses, my Pilates Next. All those flows that I put into there, I called it a flow, yes. So hopefully Pilates, please don't get me for calling it a flow. A flow means progressions. It means, I like to say flow, #flow means transitions. It's how you set up for success. A flow is someone that is really good at transitions, is a good flow.
Yep.
But all those transitions, those flows are all tested in my studio, just like you. I tested to make sure it works on real people. That means people that are not instructors.
Yep.
And if it works, then it goes into the plan. I like to do attainable workouts. They are challenging. I like to challenge people, but always have something to progress from and to. Layers, as we all love to layer, but have a base move and then layer from. But they're all attainable.
Yep.
And that's what I'm finding, the feedback that I get from the last 2 years of going out and touring with these, is that's what the biggest thing that everyone comes back to me, go, we love your flows because they're attainable and they work in my class.
Practical, useful.
Yes, and that makes me so happy, because that's my goal. Creativity is fantastic and I'm super creative, but there's a certain line there you've got to go, come on, this creativity looks fantastic. It's going to get me, maybe it'll get me an Instagram video that's going to go viral. Maybe someone's going to see me and maybe buy my membership, right? Because that's why we might do some of those. But what I'm seeing it changing a little bit. I'm seeing that people realize that they want to dig deeper into the movements and not be, and they realize they don't need to be as creative as they think they need to be. They need to dig deeper into what they know already, and how they can perfect what they know already and not have to keep learning like a 50 million more exercises.
Yeah.
Do you agree on that?
Oh, look, one of the things I find about creativity is that a lot of the time, the only reason someone's doing it is purely to find a different way of doing it, but without any greater purpose. And to me, that doesn't really make any sense, because I see the purpose of creativity as optimizing exercises to make them better. Like you're adapting the body position to like load a muscle group more effectively, or you for example, an exercise that I call thoracic rotation. You're in a 4-point kneel across the carriage, and then you're going to hold on to one of the ropes and pull the arm through. I mean, traditionally, most people would teach that like holding the rope that's closest to the hands.
Yes.
I like to hold the rope closest to your knees, but hold the knot. So at the bottom, when your head and shoulders down, there's spring tension from the very start. And when you pull the arm through, the rope isn't rubbing on the inside arm or the outside. So you get like a full range of motion, spring tension, the full range of motion, and it's like much more optimal. So to me, that process is creative, because you're trying to like problem solve exercises to make them better.
Right.
So I also don't really like it when someone will just do something different without any kind of benefit to the difference. Like, you know, oh, cool, we did it in a different position, but, you know, maybe that position had less stability, but, you know, that's not really going to benefit anyone here if they can't do it properly.
I'm so with you with that, the whole benefit. And that move you just said is a move I taught this weekend.
Oh, really?
I know, I was just like, oh, where's he going for? And I agree with that, because you need that tension to actually get that thoracic rotation a little bit more, like threading the needle. Yeah. No, I love that move too. That's so funny you said that. We're obviously on the same page there. That's great. But yeah, I mean, what's the point of doing it if there's no purpose? Just because it looks pretty and it looks fantastic? Yeah. But that's not the purpose of what Pilates is about. So I think that is starting to dissipate a little bit. I'm really, thank God, that's dissipating. And I think people are really trying to figure out, like, you know, a practicality of why we're doing it, you know. It's functional, which that's what all your program's about. It's functional. Yep. And that's one feedback that I get, oh, you're functional. And well, that's what it's all about, right? And I mean, I've owned a studio now for 26 years, obviously in Pasadena. My husband was a physical therapist, a doctor of PT. So we had a physical therapy and a Pilates studio for that amount. We just closed the PT side down. He decided he wanted to move on and do some other stuff. But we've still got that studio. So working with a lot of rehab athletes over the years has definitely shaped the way, like, I think. And I'll go back to a little bit, because I think it's always interesting people talk about this contemporary. When I learned Pilates, when I started Pilates in London, found different instructors, when I came to LA, someone said to me, you know, you should train with Ray Zakowicz. You'd love him. He's very athletic and amazing flow and everything. I mean, this is back in, oh my God, was it a long time ago? It was like about 28 years ago. About 28 years ago? Yeah, okay. So I had to interview, I've talked about this before, but I think it's quite interesting. I had to interview to take his training. And a little interview. Anyway, we learned Pilates there, but his method of what contemporary was then was that we take a classic move and then we would change it, just like you just said. We might change the positioning a little bit, the tension a little bit, or the body positioning that we know things now in science that we didn't know way back then. And that's how we learned. That was classed as contemporary. Obviously now contemporary has changed. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's fantastic. It's always evolution. But sometimes it is challenging for people because, you know, they don't know what style is this. And what I say to my instructors is, as long as you have a foundation of all the classical work, you understand all that and you know that well, then you can evolve. But if you don't know all that first, then you shouldn't evolve. Because, or you can evolve, just don't call it Pilates, right? But you have to have all that foundation first. Then you can decide, well, am I going to just teach classical and go the classical route? Or am I going to go a little bit more contemporary and do more creative stuff? But really, to be able to skip that whole foundation and then go into all that creativity, people do that, and it's fantastic, it's great, but then guess what? They're all coming back to the foundations. So I meet them where they're at, just like you do. I meet them where they're at. So if they come back to the foundations, which is not really foundations, the classical moves are not easy, and then they can evolve. And it fills in all the gaps that they're missing because they've kind of bypassed that. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah, I think so. I think one thing that you and I agree on perfectly is it comes down to like what your intention is. So if you want to like get into the space where you're teaching clients that expect a certain type of workout,
yes,
you have to be able to speak that language and know exactly what it is.
Yes.
So it really doesn't matter what the methodology is. You have to know what, if you're going to teach, let's say, if you're going to be like a martial artist and you're going to teach karate, you have to fucking know what karate is. You know what I mean? You can't just be doing taekwondo in there. Like,
well, exactly. No, I love that analogy. That's so true. Yes.
Yeah. So like, it's kind of like, to me, that makes sense. So all you have to know is within yourself is like, what is it that I actually want to be doing? And then, get to the bottom of it. Yeah.
I think it's finding your identity as an instructor and finding what works for you and what serves your purpose, what makes you happy. Yeah. What do you want to teach? And you find your own voice. It takes time too, and then stay in your lane. That's the biggest, I think, I've realized.
What do you mean by stay in your lane?
Stay in your lane is like, don't chase trends. Make your own trend.
Okay. Yeah.
You made your own trend. You're a perfect example of that. You made your own trend and you're staying in it. And people respect you for that. You stay in it. Why do you need to move into something else when you've got this people know who you are. This is from a marketing point of view. This is a business, more of a business. I mean, you can choose to do whatever you want.
Yep.
But I'm talking from a marketing business point of view here. I think I've realized that, like, yeah, for many years I could do so many different things. I'm lucky I'm able to do that. Like, I'm humble, but I'm very lucky. But I realize I need to stay in my lane. I think it's more advantageous for me to stay in my lane and trust the process that this is what works for me. This is what's worked for the last 30 years. Why am I going to chase a trend and be something that I'm not?
Yep.
But I think a lot of people do struggle with that FOMO. They look and, I need to do this. I need to do that.
Yeah.
I got to follow that person. No,
Yeah.
you just need to be you. You need to be what's worked. But we have the experience, the time. And I think just find your own voice, find what you want to teach. And I think that's the secret sauce. It really is. I'm going to stay. I've decided I'm staying in my lane.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to imagine, just now I had this thought as you're speaking then, that staying in your lane, I mean, I think that could be perceived in so many different ways, because I've heard it in sentences where people have mentioned it positively, and I've heard it in sentences where people have mentioned it negatively.
This is definitely positive.
Yeah. I know, and that's what I felt. So if I was going to like recreate that sentence to mean what I feel it means, it might be like stay like on your like path, like your own path that you're choosing.
Yes.
You know, so like my path might go through lots of different, I don't know, terrains, but it's my path, you know, as opposed to trying to follow someone else's path.
Exactly. Like staying your own true purpose is what I'm trying to get at. Like stay true to you.
Yeah.
And not let other people influence you or let your brain influence you that you should be doing this, this, and this.
Yeah.
You're staying in your trajectory, your lane. And it was a very positive thing. Like as you know, I'm such a positive person that I feel this industry needs more people like us that will uplift and meet them where they're at and try and support them and find their purpose. It might not be the same purpose as yours, but it's a purpose.
Yeah.
And no, I feel that it's their path, their trajectory, and don't let the noise sway you. Keep on your path, whatever that path may be, and it changes. I think God is thinkable. I mean, how long have you been in the industry? A long time, right?
I didn't even know what a reformer was until 2018.
Oh, that's good. So you've been on a fast pass then.
Yeah, well, I kind of, when I figured out
great.
what it was, I kind of approached it with like adult resources and like ridiculous enthusiasm. So
I love that, ridiculous enthusiasm.
like I'd do like, I'd teach my classes during the week, and then on the weekends I'd like fly into state and jump into like 8 classes, and then I'd like get to know like all the studio owners, all the instructors, and I just do that again and again and again. So after like 2 years I've been to like over 50, 60 studios. So I kind of like went like laterally, and I thought, well, the people that know what they're doing are the ones that are the high performers, and I just want to be in the room when they're doing that, because I'm just going to learn from people like that. So I didn't really learn from like a course or a book, really. I learned more from like being in the studio, because it's like, to me, it's like, well,
that's how you learn.
The results are there. You know what I mean? Like if someone's waitlisted and they're like, everyone loves them, it's like, well, what the fuck are they doing? You know, because it's like systems, it's patterns, it's choices, you know, like.
It is, yeah. How I learned was really through drawing stick figures and being in room with great instructors, with a mentor, and just taking class. And that's how I still learn. I love still doing continuing education. I just like how people talk, how people cue. Wow, I never thought about doing it that way. I really enjoy that inspiration, you know. Or, I mean, we all use Instagram for inspiration. Like, oh, that's interesting. I never thought of doing X, Y, and Z. And that's why they follow us for that too. So that's all so positive. But you mentioned something there about waitlisted classes. And I think that the systems are like that. The systems, the shapes, the patterns, the pillars of how you put your movement together is what's the secret sauce for a good class. But it's also you as a communicator. Yeah. It's like that energy when you walk into a room. It's that presence, and that is authenticity, where you really love what you do. And even if you make a mistake, like I own my mistakes. I did really well today in my pro class. Like I did the same on the right side as I did on the left side. But I did a bar class last week, and my girls in the class were like going like this. I'm like, oh, I forgot the bicep curl, you know? But you just own it. Like, what the shit? It's okay. You know, we're human.
Yeah.
And people want that humility, that, you know, they want that. Yep. They want that energy. There's nothing worse going into class when the tone is, hello, let's do footwork today. You know, I'm sorry, but, you know, very monotone. It's how you use your voice, how you identify for people, and then how you put your class together, really. And I took a lot because I'm a good friends with John Gary. Love him. He's doing his book, The It Factor. And he's so right with that, like that it factor, but you can learn to have the it factor. I mean, some of us have got it naturally, which is why you got that nice fast pass, because you've got that magnetic energy. You can command a room well, and you've been able to put your program together that's resonated with a lot of people. So you're in your lane. See, it's positive. See, it's positive. You're in your lane. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, what I say, I don't want you next time, he's doing ballet Pilates now. No. That would be outside your lane, right?
Not in this version of reality.
So yeah, I think that it factor, like what kind of personality are, how you can nurture your personality, what do we need to bring more out of a certain person, and a lot of it is just confidence. And sometimes the people that show up with a little bit of ego, it's not ego. A lot of the times ego comes out when they're actually insecure, and you know, they come a little egotistical, but they're not. It's just because they're just
a coping mechanism.
Exactly. And so I never judge people by their cover, because some days we all have bad days, you know. We all do. But unfortunately, this is what I don't like about the industry right now, or its technology, is that we get rated all the time. Like Yelp. I don't know what you have in Australia. We have Yelp here, Google, then we have ClassPass.
Yep.
And every single class you are rated. That doesn't do much for your confidence, because the people that usually will comment on there are the people who don't like your class, or just something about you doesn't jive, or they just didn't feel good that day and they didn't have a good class, and it was a waste of time. But all those people that love you think, oh, Nathan doesn't need it. Tracey doesn't need it, because everybody loves them. We all need a little bit, like when someone sends me a nice email like, wow, that course was fantastic, you've really helped me. And I'm like, do you not realize that really makes me so happy? And I do read it. I mean, we're human, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to obviously, and I'm sure you do, any kind of feedback you're receiving, you take it with like a grain of salt, you know, because if someone's come in with a different expectation of what the class is based on like every other class I've done in the past, which is like a different style or different method, then they're never going to be prepared for it, you know. And so a lot of the time, you're not really going to turn people that have like already a set mindset on what they want it to be. And that's fine, because it's really not designed for everybody anyway. Like the market that wants it, they love it. So yeah, you don't have to be everything for everyone. When I'm looking at feedback, for example, ClassPass, I always look at all the feedback my instructors get at the studio every week, and every time they get a 5-star review, I always send it to them, just because I want them to have that kind of internalize that's they're a 5-star instructor, that's normal. And anytime there's like a random review that's like a bit unhinged, like I don't bother sending it to them, because I'll look at it and be like, oh, this person wanted like a slow stretch class. Well, we're not that. So that's kind of like discredits that review in my mind. It's like, well, it's not really, we're not trying to do that. You know what I mean? It's like going to like a pizza place and saying, oh, they didn't serve steak. It's like, well, yeah, it's a pizza place. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like what do you expect? So there's a bit of like room there in my mind that not every rating is the same value to me. that, but sometimes there is like truth in the smaller details. Like you might have someone say, oh, look, the music was too loud. And I'll be like, oh,
okay,
that's like an indication I should probably just have a double check on what they're doing, because maybe they're not turning it down when they're like trying to communicate like what the exercise is, or maybe they're putting it up way too high for too long. Like, so even though a lot of the criticism might not be, I would not consider it that accurate or useful, depending on like if the person had different expectations. But if there's always a little bit of truth to it anyway. So like I always kind of have a little bit of an investigation, and I find it as like it's a good feedback loop. So you kind of jump on things earlier.
I mean, we all need constructive feedback. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we all need that to a certain point of view. Just feel that it's just so much, right? And it can shape you as an instructor. But I'll talk about this, quite funny, but it happened many years ago too. We still, like, when I first did my exercise videos, it was called The Method Show. I go back to this because it's quite funny. It was The Method Show, and it was in 1996. I just moved to LA. Someone saw me teach in a gym, and I was teaching a bit of Pilates, a bit of fusion, and fusion wasn't big then. So I did this class. Someone saw me, got an interview, got an audition, then I'm on the Method Fox Fit TV. Okay. Did this class. Of course, I was like young. My cueing was okay. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was more group exercise with a little Pilates at the end. It was fusion. And I'm pretty high energy. And I remember then they had these, internet wasn't really around then. It was kind of like, it's called the video blog or something like that. I don't know. And it was all the video users would go on there. So, then you'd have one video to last you for like 6 months. Like it was a VHS video or a Betamax, but mostly VHS. And they'd have one, maybe 2 a year, because they didn't want to invest in it. And they kept using that over and over and over again. This is going back to like, you can go on Instagram, it's called retro, and they have all the retro out, with all the buns of steel and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, I remember this one comment, and then I look back and it nearly pulled me out the industry, because I was like, it really upset me. I cried for days. And now I look back and I laugh, and I'm so glad of that comment, because it made me like, oh, I won't say the word you. You're not going to determine who I am. And I'm going to take it as a compliment, because now, so this one lady, there was a lady, she said, loved her energy. So that was a positive. Loved her energy. Loved the class. But I found it a bit off-putting. She's a little bit like Barbie doll on acid. And oh my God. And then you got the threads underneath. Oh yeah, I found she was a little overbearing. That accent, because this was coming back when I got my nice British accent that was really strong then, because I just moved here. And then I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I shouldn't even be on there. And you start self-doubting you. But I remember that now, and after that I was like, no, I'm going to do this. So every bad comment sometimes thinking about it now as we're talking about this, it knocks you down, and then you come back again. Yeah. Like in 30 years of being in this industry, do you think it's been plain sailing for me? Hell no. Does everybody like me? No. Do I care? Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. And I still do care, if I'm really honest, but I don't let it bother me so much. I don't let them take my power. I'm not going to give them the space now, but that only comes with security and experience and a very thick skin. Behind this razzle dazzle smiley face is a thick skin there, because I've had to take a lot. We all do, because the further you climb up in this industry, the more that people want to pull you down, and then there's always people that want to cheer you on, and you just find those cheery people, and those are the people why you do it, right? And so sometimes failure brings on success. So you think of all those, maybe we've all had negative comments, how it's made you like, no, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Yeah. And it's made you a stronger person too.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that the more visibility you get, the more extremes you get. You get more people that love you like at a higher level, and more people that don't like you at a higher level, so that's just the kind of the crazy thing about social media. You're kind of getting all these points of view. So I usually find that if anyone stands against something, they tend to create like a following which is in agreement with whatever that idea is.
Yes.
And I kind of don't really. There's some arguments or disagreements online that I kind of find interesting, but most of them I don't. Like most of them, like you were talking before about noise.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see it like noise versus signal. Like noise is kind of the opinions of others that you didn't really want, like, asked to hear, and signal is more like what's true to you, and then like sticking to like the path you want to be on.
See, we've gone back to it again.
Yeah. So to me, like the noise part, like it kind of is in the category of stuff that's not really that interesting to me. Like. I know when I speak to a lot of instructors, usually like we did today before like the start, and we'd just be like shooting general topics. Oh, did you see this? What do you think about that? Blah, blah, blah. It's so common that so many instructors have the same experiences where someone's talking shit about them online and they're like, annoyed. But at the same time, it's like, it just comes with the territory, Yeah.
It always going to come with the territory, and I just feel like, but if we disagree with something that you see online, like I'm not going to call them out on it. I would never do that. I would have more dignity to do that. There's like no way. Yeah. If I felt really strongly, which I've never done, I might DM them, but I probably wouldn't even do them. Let them be them. They'll figure it out. I don't want to be the one that steps in there. But no, I try and keep it very on a positive level, and I just delete comments when I need to delete them.
Yeah.
We're busy people. I don't have time for that. Yeah. I have a question for you, like turning his. So in your travels, you've been traveling all over, I know that. Is there a common thread that you've seen that instructors have difficulties with? Like, is there anything like that's a common thread? Can you think of anything that you would like to share?
Sure. Like the training that you start with will shape how you see everything. So it's like a lens. So like whatever the training you started with prioritized, you prioritize that. So if you were trying to train a trainer in my method now, which is based on targeting muscle groups, loading, but you never had a course which covered loading or targeting muscle groups, like it's so fucking left field that it's like it's really hard to comprehend. So I feel like whatever you started with, you tend to naturally bias towards and kind of feel more affinity with.
Yes.
So it's really hard for people to have a truly open mind to new information because you're kind of perceiving things based on
what they've learned already.
Yeah. So that to me, that will present itself in different ways. Like I'll come into a studio. Now, whenever this is probably the same for you. Whenever you do like an event where everyone's purchased a ticket individually, you're turning up to like your biggest fan group. Everyone loves you, you know what I mean? Because they actually made the effort and paid the money to turn up. But if you're turning up to like a private event, like for like a studio or franchise, and you've got like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 people in there, and basically none of them paid to be there, they were told to be there.
Okay,
then you're going to get everything come at you because naturally within any team there's like different kind of groups of people with different ideas about what they believe is right because everyone's come from a different training background. But the funny thing is, the longer you've been around and you watch people teach, you can tell who they learnt from because it's just so you can the cues they use, the strategies, like the everything. It's like this trees of like knowledge.
I can tell that with my teachers because they have the same cues. But no, that's so interesting. Yeah.
So I just find it. I always try and keep like obviously calm. So despite there's been different kind of levels of resistance, you could call it, from people that, if you're talking to someone who's only ever done everything slow and never had used heavy springs, for example, and then I come in there and I say, hey, you know what, if you have a stable body position, you keep close to your center, you can move quickly against heavy resistance. And they're like, you're the devil basically. It's like, well, like the one thing I kind of use to kind of get around situations like this is, rather than making it a conversation based on my methodology versus your methodology, it's more about, well, what is the reality of, like, you could call it physics, or you could call it
I love
like
that. Physics. Biomechanics, physics. Like how you're using the systems to load the muscles. Absolutely.
Because that is what it is. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you believe, it doesn't matter what country you're in. Like, it's human bodies and reformers. So you experience the spring tension is relative to your body mass and body length. So if you want to target a muscle group, there's a way to do it based on those things. So it doesn't matter if you believe that or not, because it just is that. So that's all the path I always go down, because that way we don't have to kind of disagree on our methodology, but we can't, I suppose, disagree that that's the reality.
That's the reality, yeah. And it's like I always say, like, coming with an open mind, there are going to be things that I'm going to teach you that you've been taught before differently, which is fine. And you can continue teaching it how you were doing it. But while you're here in this course, why don't you explore?
Yeah.
Open your mind. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't. But that's why you're here.
Yep.
Don't be closed-minded. Be open to learning something new. And you might be surprised that you will maybe like it better or maybe not. But that's your choice.
Yeah.
And so I also find that coming to these weekend trainings, it's such a... And I do agree with what you're saying, because the same when people come and buy tickets for your weekends, they're coming because I believe likeness tracks likeness. They're coming because they've seen something that they like in you and they want to learn.
Yep.
So you've got your little fan base coming in there, which is great. When you go into somewhere like when I'm teaching maybe at a Pilates journal, like I was teaching there, or a PMA or whatever, you are with an open book of different kinds of people in there from different. So you're going to have people that are really for you, and then you're gonna have people like on the fence, and you have to deal with that. And it is nerve-wracking. I mean, we're human. I remember doing the Pilates journal in January in just here actually, and I had like over 100 people in class. And I think as an instructor, as an educator, it's a different kind of educator that needs to be in front of 100 people to one-on-one, because it's almost like you've got to move them quick. You've got to give them what you want in a short amount of time. You're going to have questions from all different angles, and you've got to be able to like boom and answer it right there and then.
Yep.
And you've got to be quick, and you got to keep it entertaining. You got to keep them energized. Yep. And it's an art to go into that. I would start, if any of you out there are really wanting to do that in your career, it's fantastic. And it's such an amazing endorphin rush. Love it. But you have to start small first, and then get ready for all those questions that are going to come up, and be able to answer them. And I'll always say, if you can't answer a question, this is what I'll say. This is what I think. This is what I think, but I do love that question, but this is what I think, and I'm going to look into it further. Yeah. Because I never profess to something that if I don't 100% know, or I don't know, I have an opinion on that. Yeah. But you have to think quick on your feet, because if you don't think quick on your feet and haven't got an opinion, then I always say the sharks will be after you. You understand what I mean, right? Because you get it, right?
Yeah. Well, people often, like, if you were to analyze in these moments when sometimes for people that are like giving you a question, it's not the fact that the question is not the problem. It's usually like the tone and the intention of the question that's really kind of you're picking up on. It's like you know, how you watch someone on TV and like a news reporter's trying to get like a gotcha moment. Like that's what it's coming like. So, like to be able to kind of stay composed and relaxed and kind of just handle the question and not kind of respond back to the negativity. Like that's
just staying positive above it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think anything is possible if you just keep on stressing yourself in these environments, because I think if you're an instructor in a studio now and you want to be like a teacher, a trainer at some point, the first thing you should do is like run classes for the other instructors.
Yes.
Because it's a different level of stress, because the expectation is different. When you're training clients, they're kind of like happy to go with anything, and a lot of the stuff is new. But when you're training instructors, particularly ones that have been around longer than you, like their expectations are much higher. Like they listen to how you cue, tone of voice, verb choice, you know, they like look at the setup positions, they look at like the duration, everything is like being like analyzed.
Yep.
So if you can impress people that are already instructors, then you know you're onto something, because
the expectations is always going to be higher, and when you've been in the industry as long as me, the expectation is always higher. And that's why for the biggest time I had a studio, and I wasn't really very commercial with it. And then I just recently, like I told you, closed the PT down, rebranded as Pilates Next, which was like the brand I was doing all my continuing education, but now my studio is called Pilates Next. And now I get a lot of instructors coming in, but it's actually been really good for me because now my students, because I teach for balanced bodies, so I have them coming in, but it's definitely pushed me because now I have instructors coming to my class, nearly every single class. So I'm on my game all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a different when you've got my girls have been coming for 25 years. I mean, it's a little bit more relaxed, not that I don't give them a great workout, but then when I've got like a few instructors, it's, you're going to bring it on because we care. And so it's just you get it. It's a different, it's like if I showed up, I'm like, oh, hey, Nathan, I'm coming to your class today at 9 o'clock. You're like, oh, shit. Tracy's coming to my class at 9 o'clock.
I'll be like, let's fucking
go. I'm gonna go. And then, or you other regulars are going, what's gone into you today, Nathan? There's me hanging out with you, because it's just human. We want to like give you a good workout, but it's just different stress.
Yeah.
And that's because we care, and that's why we do so well, because we care.
Yeah.
And I think for those out there that really want to step into being a educator, whatever, you got to have experience. There's no shortcuts in life. There really isn't. You just got to put yourself out there, whether you fast speed it by, like you did, going out and, I always say fake it until you make it. I've done that many, many times where I have sold a course and I haven't even put the course together.
Yeah.
See, I admitted to that.
Yeah.
Because that way, what I'll do is I know what I'm teaching, and then I go have my little studio, and I'm like my little guinea pigs. I make sure it works. And okay, now it works. Now I can film it, do my manuals and my videos, and then it's a course. But it's always tried and tested first.
Yeah, I mean, efficiency-wise, it makes sense because there's no point creating something people don't want. So, like, in the process of, like, trying to figure out what that is, like, branding it and putting it out there will determine if it's like a hit already. It's like, okay, cool. There's demand for this, and let me like make it great now.
Have you ever done that before?
There's
a different way. Like I was talking to my son about this, and I forget what he called it. Like there's different kind of marketers where there's a lot of people will procrastinate. They okay, I'm going to do this program, whatever, and they procrastinate and they do it. But it's always not perfect. So it never goes out.
Yeah.
I've always been the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing this, I'm a doer. So I always like do it the opposite way around sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've been so productive in my life because I push it out there and then I have to level up to the demands that I've just put out there.
Yes.
And I put my goals out there like next year I'm doing this, this and this.
Yeah.
And the marketing material may go out before I even go. And then I tweak it. I figure out what people really want, or whether that's going to be a success. And boom, that's when I create it. So I'm always ahead of the curve. I'm always ahead of my game.
Yep.
But it keeps me accountable to myself because you were saying earlier on that you sometimes felt, I don't say lonely, but you were on your own a lot at the beginning when you was on your own a lot and you wanted to get out. And that was where you learned when you went out into the field and did different classes elsewhere. I think we're all entrepreneurs, but sometimes you can get a bit lonely too when we're not. And that's why collaboration is great if you're able to collaborate. And in my career, I've mostly done it all myself. And it's not that I'm against collaboration. It's just never had the capacity for that. I would say probably my biggest collaboration was Pilates Anytime. And they were my friends anyway when they started. I was really good friends with Christy, who's one of my good friends. And she had this great idea, Tracey, will you come on here to help me? And I went on there to help them. And then it's helped us, 360, degrees. And how that platform really did shape the industry too. And I suppose I never realized didn't realize how much that has shaped the industry, and being on there for such a long time, like how I have helped the industry, and that makes me feel really happy that I've been able to do that in a way that I never anticipated or I didn't even realize until kind of recently, the last few years. I realized just how much that did shape the industry. A lot of the instructors on there who've been on there a long time.
I feel like what it did was it kind of created like a new arena of a new height of professionalism, because to be seen as an instructor on that platform, and it's like such a beautiful space, and you got all the lights and the cameras, and it's like, it kind of is like, it's taken it from like a practice which, can be can obviously be professional in person, but I don't think there was like a recording venue that was as professional as that at the time.
At that time.
So that
it was the first, it was the GOAT, as we would say, of it.
And it was the ones like the most well known as well.
Yeah.
So you got like, I feel like there's a lot of status involved in being a part of that, which is really cool. And I know when I first started, within the first couple of weeks, that was like a part of the conversation. Oh, you should check it out, get on there, have a look. What I was thinking just now was you're talking before about like speaking things into existence basically and giving yourself the pressure by just like doing it, committing to it, and then just like figuring it out. I mean, that's when I think back now, that's pretty much how I've done everything. Like, for example, if I decided to do a tour like to like a country like the US or something, I'll literally just announce that I'm doing a tour. Yes. And I don't even have any bookings. And then people just go, oh, okay, well, do you want to come to my studio? I'm like, yep. So it's like you'd imagine that if you were going to announce it, you would have some kind of like security, but I don't. I just go, fuck it, let's go. Yeah. I want to go there, so let's,
if you don't put anything out into the universe, it's not going to come back to you.
Yeah.
So you wish it, think it, do it, it happens. If you're not a doer, it's not going to happen. It's not going to come to you.
Yeah.
Nothing in your life comes to you. You have to go out and get it.
Yeah.
You have to be a hustler, and I don't know whether it's because I'm a Brit, whether it's you're Australian, I don't know, but it's definitely like that grit in you. I was brought up in the Midlands in a very working class environment, and we had to work for everything. Like nothing was ever given to me, we will have to work for it. So I have that people will say, which is really lovely of them, they say I'm probably one of the most hardworking people in the industry, and which is why you said at the beginning, wow, you've been on your top of your game, and I really appreciate you saying that for a long time. And it's just because I work hard, basically, but I love what I do. And I would not change anything. Even the moments were not so great, and then the great moments, but they shape you, who you are as a person, and then make you thankful. Like, I'm so thankful that I'm sitting here meeting you, and this is fantastic that you actually reached out to me, So I think we should all need to be a little bit more thankful for where we get to, and collaborate more with people.
Yep.
Even if we're in different ends of the spectrum, we're completely different, maybe, but still, we are all aligned on one thing.
Yep.
We want to make people feel good about themselves. We want to make them feel better. We want them to move better. We all have the same purpose. We want to make everybody happy. I always just want to make people happy. And that's what we do. And that's what we've all got a big common goal in.
Yeah. I mean, we have more in common than we do have like separate, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like that's, I think, always a good thing to remember.
Yeah.
But one thing I'd really like to kind of dive into more with you is that I couldn't even imagine the amount of hours you put in person, in front of a camera. I mean, doing this specifically for like over 30 years, right? So I'd imagine like your like level of communication skills from when you started to now, you'd be like, obviously like a world-class communicator now. So what are the things that you worked on? What are the things that changed that enable you to communicate at a higher level?
Definitely, obviously, watching yourself on video. And at that time, people weren't really doing a lot of that. Now we do. So you see yourself on video a lot. I think really not just watching you, but listening to yourself. In other words, like think of yourself being on a podcast. So right now, like I would have to lead somebody through like single leg stretch, double leg stretch. How you can do that without doing it. Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest challenge for people is can you walk around and actually cue a class, keep a flow, keep a challenge, but actually do it with them. And that's definitely a test. And I also, being on video a lot too, remember like if you say bring your knee to your chest, well, what knee are you bringing to your chest? Bring your right knee to your chest. Be very descriptive in your cues. So being on camera has made me be a better cuer, a better communicator, because I'm very conscious when I'm teaching on camera that they're listening to me with their back. They can't see me, otherwise they're doing this, right? So they're on their back and and I say to them, just listen to my cues, trust me. Even in real classes now, even when I'm not on a camera, you see they're always trying to look for you. And I'm like, no, guys, just look at the sky, listen to me, trust the process, I'll cue you. And I make them listen to me because that makes me have to cue them better. Mm-hmm. And that definitely even the pandemic really helped me a lot too, because all of a sudden now we were doing everything on Zoom, which I think that's where the big emergence was of more people feeling comfortable on camera, right? But it definitely makes you a better cuer being on camera. And then also remember, everybody, think of yourself being on a podcast right now and that they can't see you and they've got to follow your directions. You know, sometimes I'll go, oh, God, that wasn't a very good cue. God, I didn't, you know, but you just got to pick yourself back up again and do it. But learning through failure, basically watching yourself and go, that was really shit. I said that. That was not very good. And you watch and you go, I should have done a better job at that. And that's how you learn. And we're so hypercritical of ourselves. We're our best critic. And then being okay with other people giving you, which we went back to before that. Yeah. So I definitely think video and listening to how you speak is going to help you too. Like, how many times do we say in a group class, beautiful, fantastic,
team,
amazing? Like, how many times have you said that? I'm like, God, did I say that again? It's those filler moves that sometimes I try and like strip them away and cut the fluff. Yeah. Be a little bit more. Bring your knee to your chest, bring your right leg, you know, just be more specific and less fluff.
More efficient.
And I know that I'm more planned when I cut the fluff. When I'm fluffing a bit, it's because I'm not as planned as I usually am.
Well, I like that. I mean, if you think about like what's harder, anyone can say lots of words. You know, but to actually use less words and get the same or better result.
Fantastic. That's a good cure.
Yeah.
And that's someone. And I think we're seeing now a generation of over curers. And I see that. And it's because they're reading sometimes from a book, like when I do teacher training programs and we break out into sessions. And I say, okay, you're gonna do da exercise, you're gonna teach your little group. And I see them holding the manual. And they're reading off the manual. And I'm like, excuse me, put your manual down. Well, I'm not sure that learn, just try and go there. You've done the exercise, you know the exercise. I know it's not in your body per se, but try. You're hanging onto a book. You're not going to learn anything by reading off a book. And then with AI and everything now, that everybody looks like they know what they're doing because they can just like go on AI and get a nice script, how to activate the transverse abdominis, how many videos have we seen that, and you know what causes more intra-abdominal pressure, but do they really understand it?
Yeah.
So we have to cut through that too, you know. But yes, I think more succinct cueing, setting them up quicker, let's move quicker, keeping that flow.
Yep.
So that's why people go, oh, your classes are always challenging. Yeah, but I do the same exercises as the same as another instructor, but my setup is quicker, my cueing is, so I probably might do more in a 50-minute class than that other instructor is.
Yep.
Because I'm moving them at a quick, not necessarily a quicker pace, I'm setting up faster.
You're not wasting time in transitions.
I don't waste time.
Yeah, so you spend more time moving because you're not waiting around.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so use the transitions, which is flow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that like that, doesn't happen by accident. Like, you're making choices to get an outcome. So that's one of the things I love so much about being an instructor and like trying to like work on the smallest details. Like when I'm looking to share this kind of information with a group of instructors, I'll be saying, look, if you're teaching a big group class, I don't know, 12 to 20 people plus, the average transition time is around 60 seconds. You know, transition, you stop an exercise, either change the springs, props, body position, then you start the next thing. The great instructors can minimize the transition time because they're much more like effective. So it's a skill to do that.
It is a skill.
So you have to be skillful. You have to practice that. So that's one of the things I like to practice with the instructors. Like, what is the minimum amount of information in what order can we kind of cut these transitions down, you know? And obviously you're relying on the understanding of the clients. So if you have an amazing group of people that know all the exercises and springs, then you can basically get rid of the transition completely because you can pre-cue the next exercise before this one finishes. Obviously you can't do that with a bunch of new people. So but the intention to be good at that is usually the first thing that's required. So a lot of the time when I'm speaking with instructors, they weren't even aware that was a thing to be good at. It's like, yeah, that's something you could be really good at.
Oh, interesting.
You know, like these are the things which I think you could say like the bread and butter of being an instructor. Like that's the skill, you know, like
the skill level.
like you're like the choreographer, you're the what do they call it? Like the orchestrator.
Let's say the conductor.
Conductor, that's the word.
Yeah,
sorry.
I always say that you are the conductor.
Yeah, you're literally just conducting the room, the movement. It's literally a conductor. So,
yeah,
you know, there's different levels to that. You know, some people are like Yoda. They almost say nothing and everyone's moving perfectly. You know, like that doesn't happen by accident. They're doing things that make them so good.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I get so excited about. It's like, how the fuck did that person do that? You know, like
that's the most exciting thing I get when I am cueing a class and their class is moving together.
Yeah.
My goal is I want everybody, I mean, that's just me. I was a dancer. I just like people moving together because that means I have control of the class.
Yep.
And I'll always talk about like your setups, like you pick so many setups and your setup, is it prone, supine? Is it side of the carriage? And you milk it as much as you can. And then you move to your next setup. Instead of going from one setup to another and coming back, that also helps with the transitions too. Mm-hmm. And I find, especially newer instructors, they're bouncing from one setup to another. So because they feel that it's boring
yep.
to stay supine for a long period of time. I'm like, no, it's not boring. Yep. It really isn't. It's a great time for you to start, to cueing more. But if I'm supine in a class, I'm not really probably, not saying never, I'm never saying never, I'm not saying never, but I probably am not going to come back supine again in the class. Yeah. So I'll milk it, I love that word, milk it, and then move on to another setup, move up to another setup, and that way the transitions are a little bit more fluid too in how you can move your class.
How many exercises would you be teaching in like a 45, 50-minute class?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I don't really know. That's a good question. And you know what? Like, it's interesting because they timed like all my workouts a lot of them on Pilates Anytime. And it looked like for every setup, it was I was hanging them on for about 10 minutes. And I kept consistently, every workout was the same, 10 to 12 minutes. I learned that. So I definitely like 10, 12-minute blocks in a setup. And that kind of worked for me. That's a good question. How about you?
Maximum 15.
See, that's where we're different.
Yeah.
Because I would say I'll be at least double that.
Yep. So I like to get someone in an exercise for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, because your purpose is progressive overload, is that correct? Yep. Which I'm not going for progressive overload.
Yeah.
So there's going to be, and people don't realize that. That's the whole difference.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a big proponent of strength training. I would lift weights, love strength training. But Pilates is not progressive overload unless you're doing it in a purpose, as we talked about. You are making it as progressive overload. Yeah. So it is, for a lot of people who come from Pilates industry, is completely different to what they've learned.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And this is the thing that, like, if I was going to take a moment to kind of take a bigger awareness of this situation right now, the thing I fucking love about this so much is we can talk about this in like a theoretical way and not have any kind of like negative association to that. It's like purely about like, not that that I'm assuming that was going to happen. That's definitely not the case. But, you know, if you're seeing this kind of thing play out in like a comment section on Instagram, then it's it never really gets to the level where you can actually kind of like share and discuss ideas, because I love this stuff. Like I think the bridge like to kind of as an understanding to fix this kind of issue of people just kind of like blindly kind of defending a certain method of training is the idea that, first of all, as we said before, that what's the purpose of the training? Like, what outcome are you trying to achieve? Because if you've got one method which is trying to achieve a certain outcome, and then you've got a different method trying to achieve a different outcome, then all they're doing is effectively achieving their own objective. So there's no point like having a conversation about what's right or wrong or good or bad between them, because their own purpose is unique.
It's different. Yeah.
So that's why I think everything can coexist so well. You just have to understand what purpose you're trying to do and then optimize that to get to that, you know, that's it. So I love like learning more about like your method. I love learning everyone's method. I actually kind of prioritize interviewing people that have created their own method, because I find that's like that only happens from like a lot of thought and a lot of experience. You know, you do like so many different versions of an exercise, and at some point you have to go, well, fuck, how do I want to teach it, you know? And that's where you start to think, well, what's my priority? So I think it's just exciting.
Well, I think it's being unique to yourself and being you. Like, I feel like in my career, I've always been myself, you know, and I take inspiration, but mostly it comes from me. I own it. And I'm really proud of that. Especially like in the bar industry, that was, you know, did Lottie Burke when I was younger. It was inspired by that, but it was really, what I did was standing Pilates, you know, and at the time when no one was really doing it. And so I'm proud of that, you know. Pilates is Pilates. I've just pushed the boundaries a little bit, just as you have. But once again, like I said, I stayed in my own lane. Yeah. You know, like, I'm not going to be doing what you're doing. That's your field. That's what you specialize in. That's not me. Yeah. That's what I was trying to get at. Yep. But it's not that I don't respect people who do that. I totally respect what you do. And I think just as long as when we're in a studio, that I think marketing is really important. Like, what you tell your students, what they're getting. For instance, like if you're in a franchise or a studio, which is why all those people are coming to your classes, so it's labeled that. So that Mrs. Weaver that's coming to your class, or I'll say Gertrude is coming to your class and thinks they're coming to a class, say, similar to mine, and they come to yours, it's completely different. Yeah. That's really not good on the studio's part to not have it detailed so they know what they're coming for, you know? And there's a place for everybody. Yep. And everybody, you know, so I think that's kind of where the industry right now has to embrace. They've got no other reason to it. And the people that push against it will be the people that will dissipate eventually, because positivity is what we need, I feel, like in a nice way.
One thing I really want to know more about, obviously, because you've seen all these things come and go, you've seen the trends, I would imagine you've also seen definitions of the same words change based on what people believe things are.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, like, one thing, so if I was going to, just ask you now, like, for example, you mentioned contemporary Pilates before, and how that has a different meaning in a different time period.
Yes, it does.
So, like, can you explain, like, how that's happened and what's going on there?
I think, well, definitely contemporary now would say be more fitness based. This is just my opinion, right? So I'm going to gently say this is my opinion. Contemporary more now is more fitness based, which is be where you would fit into your category. Do I fit into that category? Possibly, yes. But do I fit into classical, pure classical? No, because I'm not. Even though I was trained, I don't really sit in that. So I sit in between the two of them, right? So I probably sit in the middle, and I think that's a good place to be for me. I'm not one or the other. I just find my own lane again in the middle. I can go to the dark side with Nathan. He's laughing now. Going to go to the dark side with Nathan. That's going to be a good Instagram poll now. Tracey went to the dark side with Nathan.
I'll make that the title of the podcast.
Or I can go to the pretty classical side, which I absolutely adore and love. I love it. I really do. Yeah. Or I can be in the middle where I take a little bit of both. So yeah, that would be definitely one that's changed. And sometimes we don't quite know where we fit. So I just say I'm in the middle. I'm a moderate. That's a good way. It almost sounds like politics here, doesn't it? Really? Yeah. Like I see, and I'm like, sounds like I'm like a politician here, but I'm really not. The other one would definitely be bar. I'm like, I know we're talking about plays, but bar. Bar should be at a bar. It shouldn't be. If I'm going to a bar class, you should be at a bar. And now what's happened is now that fusion mat classes or mat Pilates now is actually not really mat Pilates. It's more bar fusion. That means it's more like fusion-esque. So there's a lot of, but that's changing because mat Pilates is coming back, because now I'm seeing that more people are coming to Pilates teacher trainings now more than reformer, which is really interesting, but they are coming back because they've been doing mat Pilates for 2 years, but then when they come and take my teacher training, they realize that they don't even know what single leg stretch is. So what they've been doing is fusion, which is fantastic because I love fusion. I teach it, done it, love it. But it you just have to have a title. We're going back to what you're doing. Yep. So if you're doing fusion mat work, call it that. Don't call it Pilates just because it's hip right now.
Yeah.
Remember 10 years ago, bar was really hip. So everyone was calling mat Pilates barless or whatever. Now it's switched. So you see how the trends are switched?
So interesting how that happens.
Yeah, it's just it's a marketing point of view. I see that. But I've always tried honestly in my life, like even when I bought bar out, Booty Bar, I was like, this is not Pilates. It's based in Pilates. I never said it was Pilates. It was based on it. A lot of it was Pilates, but it was based on it. And so now if I teach a fusion class, it's a fusion. It's a sculpt class. It's a fusion. Or it's a bar class at a bar. If it's mat Pilates, guess what? 80% of those are going to be classic mat moves that are really hard. 20% of it might be a little bit more contemporary, a little like fusion-esque stuff there, but most of it is going to be mat Pilates, the true exercises that we all should be included if you're going to call it Pilates. But that's my point of view.
I mean, logically, it makes sense to me. If you're calling it bar, there should be a bar. I mean, it's like if you're doing a reformer class, there should be a reformer there. You know what I mean? Like.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But now the new terminology is sculpt. So we're hearing mat sculpt, which I think is a better word for it, which is like a little bit of Pilates, a little bit of bar, a little fusion-esque, fantastic. And that's kind of what the trend is. But once you start putting Pilates in there, it really isn't, a lot of time isn't Pilates. I do believe you should have a large percentage of the classical moves to make it a real true Pilates class. That's just my opinion.
I suppose it's just such a grey area, isn't it? Because like anyone can just go based on this and then make it whatever they want it to be.
Well, they can.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's marketing. They got to get people through the door. So,
Yeah.
all you can do is have your own opinion and just smile with it. That's my opinion. I'm not going to change the world on it, am I? I just influence. I suppose we are influencers. Kind of don't like that word influence, but I try and influence positivity and maybe thinking a little bit more like, well, what am I doing? How am I teaching? Maybe Tracey's onto something there. Maybe I should look into this. I just think very thought-provoking, which is why it led me to doing Balanced Body, to going back to doing teacher training. And because I wanted to re-inspire the new generation coming in, and then also, start mentoring people a little bit more on, helping them find their identity and their voice and be just a better communicator at the end of the day, because we are good instructors are just really, really good communicators. We can all learn movement. Most of us, if we've got good coordination, we can all learn movement, but it's how you put it together, the transitions and being in front of a person and just being there and being present, being able to teach. Yeah.
Who has been maybe like one or multiple like mentors you've had that you really felt helped you progress a lot when you started?
I would probably say Rael Izakowicz has probably been my biggest influence in my life. Just love his attention to detail, his flow, his energy, his athleticism, and just how he just breaks down movements is, in my opinion, is probably the best for me. But like I say that for me because we're all going to find different, I've also really been inspired by Ron Fletcher when I was very much younger. He's a dancer, loved all his work, so that. Love Brent Anderson because of his pathology, his biomechanics, having a PT clinic. And I'm really proud of what he's done, what he's developed with Shelley. Shelley's amazing too. Other people, I would say, a lot of these people you probably know, Gillian Hessel. I've always followed her, always love how she cues, going back. And I remember her saying, I always say this, like the old is the new. Like seeing her, because she's in her 70s and she trained with Carola Tiara and Kathy Grant and stuff. I just I think the more I'm aging, the more I'm digging deeper, the more I like to go back a little bit more and maybe I like to study more with some of the classical work. Because I'm an ex-dancer. I can do all that. I can. I'm in my 50s and I can do all the advanced work. But the reason I can do that is because I practice. I do a lot of Pilates. I do strength training. I think strength training, if I didn't strength train, I don't know whether I'd still be able to do, and that would be very thought-provoking here. I don't know whether I would have been able to do a lot of the advanced mat work as well as I do, because I do a lot of strength training too. And my upper body is so much weaker than my lower body. It's just how I've always been. And so that's really helped me be able to do, and that makes me happy because I love Pilates.
Yep.
I much prefer Pilates to strength training. I don't really like strength training, never have done, but do I do it? Yeah, because I have to.
Yep.
But I prefer Pilates. So I think sometimes we do things that we might not like to do, but we do it. But I think all those definitely have been a definite influence on me as an instructor. I can think of so many, like Alan Herdman, I love him. Michael King is so fantastic. I mean, these are a lot of people that most people don't know about, and they should, because they're just wonderful, wonderful instructors. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you said then, I'm just trying to remember exactly how you said it. You said the old is the new.
The old is the new.
Yeah.
So sometimes it'd be like you. Sometimes you think like, oh, well, I've taught that exercise 1,000,000 times. And then you go to a workshop and you've got this whole plethora of new moves, or not new moves, variations of old moves, whatever. And then I brought up this move that I've been doing forever. And I added it in there. And they was like, wow, Trace, that's so good. I'm like, oh, yeah, I did that 15 years ago on Pilates Anytime. No way. I'm like, yeah, there you go. The old is the new. So we keep trying to reinvent the wheel when we don't really need to, because the wheel is already there.
Yeah.
And so for me, that makes me like, God, do I have to keep recreating? I sometimes feel like I'm having to keep recreating. And I realize now that we don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You just need to dig a little bit deeper. And there's plenty of people out there that really need your knowledge. They really need your help. They need your help. And so I think that's changed a lot for me. I'm like, I don't need to keep recreating. I'm really creative. I can just dig a little bit deeper to what we've got, what we do, and you realize you've got it all there anyway.
So when you say dig a bit deeper, do you mean researching people in the past, or do you mean kind of going back to things you've done earlier?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like going back to some of the repertoire or some of the ways that you used to do things. And that you haven't used it for a while. You've got all the video, I'm sure, of all different things. Like me, so much hours and hours of video.
Yep.
And then I go back to an old video that I did maybe 10 years ago. I'm like, oh gosh, I forgot I did it that way. That's so great. And you bring it back. Voila, the old is the new.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
You know, that's where also, I think, and also the classics too sometimes, like how we can interject some of the classics. Maybe that's the thing for you. How can you interject some of your classics into the moves? I don't know. I think mat work is so appealing because it's so hard. And adding mat work into a reformer group class to me is really important. Like I always start, no matter what class I'm teaching, I always start with some kind of pre-Pilates and mat work. A lot of times it's always the series of 5. It doesn't matter what kind of class you're doing. Even if I was teaching your style of a class, I'd still do a mat class at the beginning, like a 5-10 minute, get them really into that core. It's athletic, it's challenging, and then move. And I think with reformer workouts now, they forget about that and they go straight into footwork or straight into it. And I think your body needs that time to warm up, connect to your body, just get rid of the noise, do a series of 5, do some classical movements, then do whatever you want to do. Try it next time and you can let me know how you get on.
Well, when are you teaching next?
I should go and take my class.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Oh, your studio's literally down the road, right?
I know.
Yeah, okay.
So where are you off to next?
Well, my tour is pretty much complete, but I'm staying around to the 5th. So I want to go check out Lake Tahoe and Yosemite.
Beautiful.
But in the meantime, my time's my own. So are you teaching?
Tomorrow I'm teaching.
You
should come.
Okay, let's book that in.
There you go.
No,
but then I'm going on vacation. I'm actually taking a vacation.
After that class, yeah?
No, I'm actually, can believe on Thursday and Friday I'm filming some more workouts for my demand because I have a Pilates bar on demand app
Okay.
that I've had for a long time. So I do that. I put up new workouts every week, but I'm doing a new program for that. And then I'm always doing things just like you. I'm putting a second tier to Pilates bar on demand, which is more for instructors, which is more like a mentor program. So I'm doing, which we talked about, I'm doing all the promo stuff, videoing all the promos, the photos and everything. Then I've done it. And then it's going to happen. So then I go on vacation because it's the 4th of July. You're going to be here for the 4th of July.
Yeah. Oh, I was originally going back in the first. I was like, I can't miss the 4th of July.
No, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so well, there you go. You're going to have a great time.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I think everything always works out for the best. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to come to your class tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a tower class.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Okay, you're in then tomorrow
Yep.
at 9:30, and it's a tower class, which is one of the courses I've just been teaching, which is Tower Sculpt.
Okay.
And what I love about Tower Sculpt is it's part of the Cadillac, as most of you would know. But for me, it's like, which is what I love, mat Pilates on steroids and bar on steroids, because
I've never done bar in my life, by the way.
because-
I mean, what about the introduction for me? Like to do bar from you from
I
the
know,
first
I'm
ever bar
like, it's so
class.
funny. So I'm like, he's like, oh, great. No, he's backpedaling now. Because it is because you can use all the springs and everything to add to your mat work, but then you got the push through bars, so you can do a lot of standing, like fitness stuff too, like pistol squats. It can be very functional. So actually a lot of men like it, and gym rats, we call them, like it because it reminds them of like what they could do, on a pulley system too, right? Yep. So it is athletic. Well, that's kind of how I teach it, really, quite athletic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm open to that. I think it's going to be awesome. Like as I was saying before, never done a bar class in my life, so but that's not going to stop me. So
no, you're fine.
Yeah. But I also like it. Yeah, to me, the being open to like different ways of doing things, that's something I find exciting, because like you're saying there, you want to start with mat and then you want to work into like the reformer workout or something like that. Like I'm open to trying that. Like I think that's the only way you really kind of figure out what you want to do is by trying it. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I could like when I like look at you and I think about like what you've done in your career, it's kind of like someone who's just bloody sent it and just taken all the chances and pushed themselves to try and be the best version of an instructor possible. That's what I kind of see with you. I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'd imagine that it'd be kind of hard for like a new instructor to relate to you, because you've gone through so many evolutions of your own kind of such a long way into the journey of like trying to become like the pinnacle of like the best teacher you can be. Like I love that idea of that pursuit, because it's so pure. It's like, is you trying to like master the craft, and then in that, if you're trying to do that, it's only a matter of time before you come up with your own training processes and teacher trainings and businesses that come out of that.
Right.
Because I think it's like a noble but it's a pure pursuit to try and just be really good at one thing. So. But, for you to get to this point, you had to start off teaching your first class somewhere, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said you fake it until you make it.
Yeah.
Started teaching in London when I was at theatre art school, and it wasn't really mat Pilates. It was like with dance. It was a fusion. And that was before fusion was really anything anyway. People didn't do that stuff. I just was like, I got to make some money here. I got to do what I can do. And, took classes for myself. I was just taking my own personal classes for me. I did it for me because I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be strong. So I did it purely from a vanity point of view when I was dancing. And I loved Pilates.
How old were you when you took your first class?
I was like 16, but I didn't even realize it was mat Pilates. It was half at the bar and half on the floor. And it's called a dance conditioning class at college. And realized like, many years after like what I was actually doing, it was mat Pilates with bar. My teacher was a fan of like Lottie Burke and also mat Pilates, and loved it. And that's kind of what got me into it. And then when I moved to LA in '96, I started taking even more classes, here and there. And I just started adding it into my group exercise class because I was a group X instructor. So I'd add it to my classes. So it would be there. I wasn't certified. I was just doing what I liked and put different kinds of modalities of movements together. Aerobics. I remember Tybo.
I remember watching that on TV. Yeah.
Tybo was huge here in Burbank, and I loved his class. So it's like, okay. So I do a little bit of Tybo. I'd start off with a little bit of aerobics, go into a little bit of Tybo, and finish off with Pilates. I'm like, it was a mishmash. But guess what? I had waitlisted classes then. I mean, it was a big gym.
Yep.
And then somebody saw me, and that's how I got my break. And then I kind of worked backwards again. I was like, oh, I'm going to, so I started taking more apparatus work. So I was introduced to apparatus when I was at college in London. And then I started taking more classes while I was here. And that's when I started, okay, I'm going to teach this. I was a personal trainer. So I have a personal training background too. So I was a personal trainer, did a lot of personal training in gyms and stuff. But I was like, no, I want to teach Pilates. That's what I love more. And so then I worked with obviously Real, and I did also Polestar. I did also I forget the name now. Oh my gosh, my brain, because I've been talking for so long now. But anyway, it was Polestar and Real Izakowitz, which was Bassi. And that's when I started learning how to teach, and that's kind of how I got into it, really. Basically, it was kind of like I said, the grit of being out there. Like the same, I wasn't certified to teach Pilates, but I was teaching mat work. So I derived from mat work and fusion work and kind of went into it that way. And dabbled in a little bit of reformer. When I was at the Pineapple Dance Studios in London, we did a little bit there, and I used to watch them take classes too, where we'd have the pedipole and the trap table and the chairs. And when I first started doing Pilates, that's how you walked in, and you'd have your little exercise on a piece of paper, and you'd always start with your warm-up, which we knew, and then you go to footwork. If there was a reformer free, you go to the reformer. If the reformer wasn't free, you go to the Cadillac, or you would go to the chair, whatever was free. And then we'd move through a system, which was more classical work, obviously, footwork, and then going into it. But in a way, if you think about it, it made me have to learn the work. Now, when they're teaching group reformer, I like it because I'm in control. I'm teaching everyone. And if you're going to have 13 people in a room or whatever, or in Australia, I see there's 30 beds. I'm coming to Australia in August, and there's 30 beds there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, So all moving together is safer, obviously. But typically it was never done like that. It was more of a circuit kind of thing. But it made you learn the movements. So before I even went into teacher training, I knew the repertoire. I knew I'd say I knew at least probably 80% of the repertoire on all the apparatus, pretty much. There's always something, we're always learning more, or variations. And before I even went in. But now when people come into our teacher training program, sometimes maybe they haven't even done hardly any classes. So they come in for reformer training, as they say, and they may have only done a couple of classes. So the entry point is so much different now to how it was before. When we went in there, like when most of the people had all done Pilates for a long time. It was in their body. So we were like finessing it, if you get what I mean.
Yep.
But now it's not that way. People are coming in who've only done 1-2 classes. So they're actually learning on the go, but there is no shortcut. I don't care what anybody says. Unpopular opinion there, but there is no shortcut. And you can see people who are practicing. I can see when my students are practicing and when they say they are and they're not. You can see it. It's not in their body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. It takes time to develop an understanding. I look back to like the first videos that I ever put up on Instagram, and I've got them archived. Like horrible everything, horrible lighting, horrible movement speed was wrong, range of motion not great, but you don't know what you don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
well, so you don't know what you don't know, and there's some beauty in that too. There's some beauty in just learning through movement.
Yeah.
Being hypercritical and where's your eyelash? Move your right pinky to your left butt cheek. You know what I mean? Like, come on, let's move. Like, I like people to move. Like, I want them to move and get an experience and not hyper criticize or hyper cue them. Just let them move. We'll work backwards which is kind of my theme today.
Yep.
And, you know, especially if I'm working with guys, I love working with men. Of course, I'm going to move them, work for more power moves first, you know, a lot of times because I want them to like it. I want them to enjoy it. And then you can build in, okay, have you thought, let's do this a little bit better? But it's kind of like getting them moving, and then like a circuit, really, getting them moving, and then, okay, let's dig a little deeper here. Let's move a little slower. Let's move. Let's do, you know, so we can just learn on the go. I do think we can learn on the go with movement.
Yeah. Do you see a difference between exercise and movement?
Do I see a difference? Yeah, I think like moving, obviously our goal with Pilates is moving with integrity and moving with intent is always the goal. And good movement is great movement. There could be an exercise and they're just moving through this exercise without any mind-body connection. And there's a whole different disconnect. You can just go through the shapes, through the movements without any mental capacity there. Even with what you're doing, there's a big difference if mind body is engaged, or I'm thinking about my to-do list where I'm going to go to Whole Foods and get my dinner tonight, and I'm going through the movements. It's very intrinsic. Pilates is intrinsic, but I feel that transitions into everything you can do, even group exercise, even weight training. It's that intrinsic part of Pilates, of movement with intent, with the breath, is what makes it so unique, and that should be transferred into all of the modalities. That's what's so unique in Pilates. I mean, yoga is mind body, but it's a little different, a little different to Pilates, but as the same genre, it's a mind body, it's intrinsic. I mean, if you think about it, you go to the gym, you got the music blaring, you've got your earphones on, maybe you're watching Netflix, you're doing everything to fight what you're actually doing, to forget what you're actually doing. Yeah, we're not doing that in Pilates. That's why when we go back to that music, I use music, but my music is never loud. It's very in the background because I am the focus. I'm the teacher, and I want them to feel the movement with intent, with movement. I like rhythm. I like moving with dynamic, but also slowing it down too, so they understand where they are in space with good form. But the music is secondary. The music is just in the background, and sometimes I don't even have music. It depends on the class. But I mean, there's always people, you know, you're going to go. I'm not moving to a beat of a music. That, to me, I don't find that very appealing with Pilates. I tried it once, and it was an epic fail. But there you go. I mean, I was trying to go to the beat of the music. Let me clarify this. Not in, you know.
I'd imagine like the reason why, this is my assumption, is that like it's not like everyone's the same height and the same weight. So like, you know, if you're trying to get everyone to move at the same tempo, but you've got different body length, then, you know, you're going to have to force someone to move quicker than someone else, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah. But that's, I really like, so would you say then if you're saying that Pilates is more intrinsic, would you say then like gym is more extrinsic as a comparison?
Yeah. We think about if on an elliptical, on a treadmill, we do everything to fight while we're not being on there. A lot of times we've got music blaring and everything. Pilates is about, it's mind body. That's basically what Pilates is learning to how to control your body internally to externally, finding where those stabilizing muscles are, finding your transverse, finding that intra-abdominal pressure, finding the levers against gravity, against the machine. You know, but that takes a lot of thought power. There's a big difference. I know. And it's when I'm actually in a class and I'm not teaching, I'm actually a student, I'm working my body at least probably 20% harder than if I'm teaching. You know, if I was teaching, say I was teaching a group mat class and I'm actually doing it with them. Okay. I know that if I wasn't teaching, I'd be more focused on my breath, more focused on my form as much. But when I'm teaching, it's completely different. I know there's always that, well, you're teaching, you should be walking around. Now, there's a big difference there. When you're teaching group reformer, absolutely, you are walking around and you're correcting. I'm a big hands-on person. When you're teaching mat, it's a little different. I think they need a little bit more visual too, and then you can jump off your podium and start correcting them. But I'm always scanning the room when I'm teaching like a mat Pilates class. It's not that it's my workout, but they're following me as well. So there's always going to be be a big debate about that. But I always remember taking Rael Izakowicz class. He always, 100% always did the class with us, but his eyes were like around, and I'm like that. Gladys, pull your shoulder blades down. Da da da. Nathan, pull those abs in, But you are around. But it's definitely very inspiring when you've got an instructor in front of you in mat class doing it with you. I find it very inspiring, and there's something different with the flow and the energy too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I know there will be people who will probably say different with that. But it's not that I'm not looking at their form. It's not that I'm cueing them. I'm there. If they need it, I'll be up off my podium and back to them right away, and then back.
Yep.
So there you go.
I felt that before when I did like a heated yoga class. I think it was a specific one. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like basically the same routine every time. I didn't necessarily like it was the same routine every time, but that was not the point of this message. The message was that the instructor didn't do it, and it annoyed me for some reason.
I think it would annoy me more if the instructor's not doing it.
Yeah,
because then they become like an abacus. They're a counter, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just like, no.
So for anything that doesn't require like a machine, I kind of feel like the instructor doing it with you is like amazing. And obviously they, as you said, need to have the awareness to go around everyone and correct things. But it's just so nice for them to kind of be a part of it. I know that in a group reformer class, it's not going to work as well because there's so many variables you have to look out for.
So
like
many variables.
Body position, speed of movement, range of motion, coordination, springs. You have to have everything perfect to get the results you want. Yeah. And if you're on a machine, you can't see everything. And if there's a lot of people, you're not going to be able to get to them. So
that's true.
That won't work. But I'd also like to, I wouldn't necessarily say challenge your idea, but maybe like a different perspective on it. I feel like I don't disagree at all. I think if you look at Pilates versus like the standard experience in the gym, I would definitely go Pilates is definitely more intrinsic and the gym is more extrinsic. Right. But I think anyone who takes any pursuit to a deeper level will get more intrinsic. Mm-hmm. Like you talk about like a bodybuilder who's like focusing on how they grip the weight, like all the smallest details. It's like they're doing that too. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why they're the top of the game. That's usually their missing link. It's definitely, of course, if you're an athlete, you are totally mind-body. I mean, that's what it's all about. But in general, I'm talking about general public, it's not quite there. And then they're coming in now into a reformer Pilates and thinking it's kind of the same, but it's not. It's not. It's not the same. And that's it's the instructor that has to deliver that too, Well, wrapping up, I'd just like to say that, like, obviously getting to meet you for the very first time today, I have to say that, like, the kind of like magnetic energy that you have, like when I saw you rock up in the car and stuff, I was like I can tell you've done so well in your career. It's because you do radiate that, like you have this like youthful enthusiasm, very fun to be around. So, thank you. Yeah, like that's something I feel like I don't know what percentage has come from like you naturally or you've honed that skill over time, but it's definitely something you can feel in your presence. So yeah, it's really nice to meet you, and thank you so much for making the time to come and speak with me today. No, this has been so much fun. It's a shame that you have to have a podcast to actually learn to talk to somebody and meet somebody, right? Right, It's like, it's crazy, right? You have to have a podcast to do that. So thank you, Nathan. Thank you for doing this and opening up your arms to all these other amazing people that you've interviewed and at different times of their career too. So I think that says a lot. That says a lot for you, that you're about collaborating, about creating a community, which I feel the Pilates has been I'm so blessed to be part of that community, and that's what keeps me going, is that beautiful community. Positivity, remember positivity, stay in our lane, remember the definition of that. That's what we're going to get. This is our little outtakes of today. And I went onto the dark side with Nathan. I don't mind being called the dark side, actually. Has a good feel to it, like, it does, doesn't it? It's like Darth Vader. Yeah. Oh, we're crazy. There you go. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. And thanks everyone for watching today, and we'll see you next time.